In November of 2001, chloramine replaced free chlorine as a disinfectant used in Washington, D.C.'s water system. The change in disinfectant caused lead to leach from the service line pipes and other plumbing materials and into the water. Lead continued to seep into the water for the next 3 years until a media whirlwind and subsequent public health intervention was enacted. However, in 2006, health protections related to DC's lead pipes were removed. This, coupled with the partial replacement of lead service lines, brought an increase in water lead levels. In the first clip, you will see how the change in the chlorination system corroded the pipes, which ultimately resulted lead leaching into the water supply.
In other news today, the Center for Disease Control has been withholding evidence of the dangerously high levels of lead found in tap water in Washington, D.C. 8 years ago, the city decided to remove chlorine from their drinking water and replace it with a similar chemical. However, they didn't realize that the chlorine actually helped prevent lead from breaking off inside of the lead pipes, and the new chemical allowed high levels of lead to pour out.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks. Water sucks.
No,
it really, really sucks.
You don't mean that. You're bad people.
Numerous studies confirm that very low levels of lead in blood are linked to short attention spans and reading problems in children. In adults, low levels are linked to high blood pressure and an increased risk of death from heart disease and stroke. If not detected early, children with high levels of lead in their bodies can suffer from brain and nervous system damage, stunted growth, and hearing problems. The CDC discovered in 2007 that many young children living in D.C. homes with lead pipes were poisoned by drinking water and suffered ill effects. Yet the health agency did not publicize the new findings or alert public health authorities in D.C. or other federal agencies that regulate lead.
Last year in D.C., more than 60 schools tested with elevated levels of lead in their water sources. Acting on these test results, the schools installed a filter at every sink, fountain, and other water sources. This is disturbing news, knowing that lead exposure to children can result in developmental delay, behavioral disorders at low lead levels, seizures, and in rare cases, death. Unfortunately, this was occurring for years and kept from the public. In the following video, we will hear about the lead in water at DC public schools. It discusses the issues of testing the water and adding filters to remove the lead.
Troubling levels of lead found in drinking water at several D.C. schools has parents on high alert. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sarah Simmons in for Sean.
I'm Jim Lokey in for Tony. The lead problem in these schools could be linked to places beyond schools in the district. Fox 5's Tisha Lewis joins us tonight with that side of the story. Hey, Tisha.
Hey, Jim and Sarah. You know, beyond schools, older buildings and homes across the DMV could be at risk for potentially dangerous levels of lead in the drinking water. In this case, D.C. Public Schools says a dozen schools have elevated lead levels.
Definitely want to make sure your kids are safe, especially my babies. Make sure they're safe. That's a health concern for anyone. Being that water is very important.
Marcus McIntyre has 4 daughters who attend Minor Elementary School in Northeast. It's one of 12 schools across the district with lead levels above the Environmental Protection Agency standard.
I'm sure whatever it is, they're taking care of it. I don't think they want to put our kids at risk. It's a pretty good school.
McIntyre is optimistic. Even so, Michael and Son plumbing guru Tony Spiruto says schools, homes, and buildings across the DMV could be at risk for elevated lead levels in the drinking water.
Since the incident in Flint, we do get we've definitely had an increase in calls, people concerned about their water filtration.
And if schools are having issues protecting the water, is there hope for you at home? Spiruto says yes.
Actually, to have a resin-based water softener installed in your home. Put in a reverse osmosis system because that actually can remove all the lead. If you're concerned about it, the best thing to do is take a water sample and send it to an independent lab, make sure that it's certified to test for lead, and have it tested.
The cost to fix the problem is based on how many water sources are at risk. Now, D.C. Public Schools says nearly 4,000 tests were performed. 17 water sources across the district had high levels of lead. At Minor Elementary School, filters are being used to bring water quality back to EPA standards. That's also happening across the district. Letters went home to parents tonight. DCPS is recommending they contact their pediatrician. Tisha Lewis, Fox 5 Local News.
Lead poisoning can be hard to detect, too. According to the Mayo Clinic, children with it can show symptoms of learning difficulties, developmental delays, irritability, loss of appetite, and even hearing loss. People with prolonged exposure to lead may also be at risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, and reduced fertility.
Everyone who drank or used tap water in Washington, D.C. was exposed to leaded water. Infants, especially those who drank formula reconstituted with tap water, were significantly impacted by the lead in the water. Public health interventions did not occur until 2004, when a Washington Post article was published highlighting the dangers and insufficient governmental response. Measurable levels of lead in the blood mean that damage to people, especially children, has already occurred. In this next video, we will see that something needs to be done. Old pipes need to be replaced, and while replacement will be expensive, leaded water is simply far too dangerous to go unaddressed. Additionally, due to the fact that leaded water is so harmful to human health, many DC residents had to resort to using bottled water as their sole water source. Dependency on bottled water is extremely costly and an unsustainable expense for many families.
The task of brushing your teeth, washing your hands, or simply filling up a cup of water may put you and your family at risk if you live in the DC area. In 2001, the Washington Post reported that there was lead in DC water, reminiscent of the Flint water crisis. However, 16 years later, the problem still persists, causing major concern for DC residents.
Being a DC resident, I feel like we've always been short of something. So the water thing wasn't a super surprise, but it is because it affected people's homes. It affected us, you know, just being able to wash hair or just use the water to boil water for your noodles.
Events like the 2017 DC Public Health Case Challenge addressed the issue of lead contamination, showing the importance of why this issue is still prevalent in the DC area.
Even something simple as filling up a pot of water for Monday night dinner could be harmful for all those who come in contact with the contaminated water.
So to me, like just living here, it's just hard. You gotta buy like deer parks or, you know, different spring waters, whatever you can, but we should be able to utilize water fountains and things of that sort. So to me, it's just been an ongoing issue. A lot of people, you know, there's a lot of facts, there's been a lot of meetings, but when are they really going to resolve it? It's 2017 and we literally still have the same water issue.
Today, DC continues their efforts in replacing lead pipes with non-leaded pipes. They are doing partial replacements where the lead pipes into the city streets are replaced. Then there is a full lead line replacement, which involves removing the lead pipes under the public and private property. When the city only completes a partial replacement, they advise the surrounding property owners it would be in their best interest to replace the lead pipes on their property. In addition, DC has published maps showing where the lead pipes are located for the residents. If they live in one of these locations, the residents are encouraged to use filters for their drinking water. Along with adding the filters, they are advised how important it is to change those filters on a regular basis. In the end, it is not only costing DC and its residents a large financial burden, but more importantly, the risk of lead poisoning ending in harm to their health.